Okay, so I've made what I think is some mystical common sense. Mystical common sense. I'm at that age in my life, young, but wise, where I've decided that unless I teach something of value, I'm not going to teach, and that people who come and see me are not here by accident. So I put those two together. And I teach from that point of view. And so I always assume that there's a reason each of you is here. I teach with a bit of spiritual arrogance in my soul, but not that kind of arrogance, but rather that because I feel what I do, that I'm assuming somehow that the winds of change are in your life and that they're rumbling through your soul. And that for this brief period of time, I am a shepherd in your soul, and it is a sacred task. So that is how I teach. And that is the assumption I have made with each of you, and I consider that a holy task. With that in mind, it is my role for me, to you, to kind of light the small flame in you that the divine is in some way in communication with you. That there is a sacred voice that is fully and totally present in your life. And that voice, that presence, is of great consequence to your life. That consequence is not a productive one in the sense that the Western mind has this sense of prove your presence by getting me a job. Prove your presence by productivity. And that model has got to stop. It is a Western puritanical model that converts to, unless there's something practical in this experience, you did not have that experience. And the experience is not worth it. So that you insist on a practical side of the divine that simply is the nonsensical form of Western religion, which is it is also the side that you rebel against. You rebel against this very side of Western religion, the capitalist side that you still cling to, by insisting that your prayers have a practical answer. Do you not see that? So you have to own your own capitalist inclinations. But the mystical, this part that I'm talking to you about, is the part that's beyond that superstitious, practical part of you that says, I will not do anything unless I have proof of safety, unless I have a guarantee of outcome. You are praying like a capitalist, spiritual, non-believer, superstitious, tree-hugging person. And that is someone, if I said, do you have faith? You have to say, I do not. I don't have any faith at all. Because I will not make a decision unless I have a guarantee. All my faith is in my head. I'm nothing but a wordsmith. But I do not have any faith. And if that is how you operate, you are someone without faith, and you have to clearly get that. You've never known a moment of faith in your life. Faith is when you turn that off. And you stop having conditions upon which you will jump from the cliff. You simply jump. Because you hear this, you sense this. There's that something that is not describable is commanding you. And it is not explainable to other people. And you cease holding on to your wounds as the reason you will not jump. They cease to be your earth anchors. You stop clinging to an imperfect life as the reason that you don't proceed with any life at all. That's not a good enough reason. It's not a good enough reason. The mystics will tell you, I will tell you, that that indescribable voice has figured out a way to speak to each of you. And that there's stages of the intuitive voice. And the first is what I would call divine organics. It's in your blood and in your bones. The organic divinity. It's this, the level from down here, the level in your first, second, and third chakras, the level of gut instinct. You could eat cat food and it's operating. So it's the part of you that just has fight or flight. This part, it is your gut instinct that says, this doesn't look right, this doesn't feel right, I don't like this person, I like that person, da da da. It's the part that just says, I don't know, that gut, it's pure survival instinct. It's an instinct. It's not even highly refined. It's an animal instinct. Your animal instinct. It's an animal nature in us. There's nothing highfalutin about it at all. And a lot of your street psychics make their living on this one. Because they can smell your vulnerability. Gee, it seems you're looking for a job. I smell you're looking for a lover. I can smell it. This is street psychic garbage. Don't you dare go to those people. They're dangerous. And I'll tell you why they're dangerous. They're dangerous because they can smell weakness. This right here. This is the instinct that smells whether or not you can be mugged. This one right here. This is the instinct that says, I can con you. This, criminals, they're great at this. Con artists, this instinct in them is highly refined. Highly refined. This one right here. Because it's fight or flight, it's survival. Stop thinking intuition is a gift. Stop it. Get your heads out of the sewer. It is simply a skill. It's simply a skill. You've read some kind of comic book about an off-planet god that rewards you with intuitive jewels. Stop it. Stop it. Some of the best intuitives in the world are con artists and criminals. Absolutely. They size you up like this. Just like that. You got to stop thinking there's a God that rewards you because you've suffered and you've had a bad day in earth school and blah, 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 blah. There is no God that works like that. The rules of the game of life. Learn the rules, play the game. But you don't get rewarded because you've suffered. And then you get to punish everybody else because you've suffered. Nobody cares. You've got to figure this out. Did she say nobody cared? Yes, she did. Meanie. Look, I have to live by these same rules. Right? I have to live by the same rules. So it's not like I'm giving you a set of rules. But if you think that we could go up and look and say, oh, God, I'm suffering, and that some great force is going to come down, sorry. You're crazy. You're crazy. You think a miracle is going to happen because, oh my God, Jesus, how did that happen? Jesus, get down there. No, it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to come down and apologize and beat the crap out of people who hurt you. Nobody cares in the celestial world. There are not angels saying, what have we done? Flap our wings, flap, flap, flap. Nobody. That's not the way it's written. You have to register, we are a species. No different than animals. We are simply our species. What we've done is we've just written a book that says, no, we're not. We are so special that we're here to observe all the other species. And we get to rewrite the book. There isn't any evil, there's just good. There's just a sun and no moon. There's just the world the way we want it. No, there isn't. No, there is not. So, now that I've been rambling, where was I rambling off to? Wait. Oh, divine, right, okay. After the organic comes, and one way to look at it is, this is divine organic. Eventually, you become conscious of your guidance. Eventually, you want to know a little bit more, participate in guidance. Eventually, you start asking the question, what, why, how? One of the best books I've ever read that illustrates this point is called The Source by Michener. And I don't know how you read it, but there's a point, there's one incident that captures this moment. And The Source is about an excavation into Israel or the Middle East. And the way Michener writes is he always does a present and the story of the ancients and the presents when he tells the story. So here are these archaeologists, and they're digging through some ancient stuff. And as they find the ancient stuff, he tells the story about the cavemen who lived then, and these people. And then he switches to the archaeologists doing the story, and then he goes back to this, and he goes back and forth. And it's one of the best books you're ever going to read, because all his history is accurate. And in the telling of the cavemen, and the telling of this evolution of life from the beginning of life in the Tigris-Euphrates Valley. And he's in the cave, and they have the spears, and the writings on the wall and all of this. He's dealing with a consciousness in which there is a primal assumption that elders die before their children. That there is an assumption. Now, these assumptions, that we all have these assumptions, and upon these assumptions is based our construction of the cosmos and the nature of God. So I say this to you because we are still doing this. Upon our organized assumptions of what we think is, and here's the operative word we're going to challenge, the logical order of the universe, according to our judicial logic, not celestial logic, but judicial. Judicial. What seems fair and right. Now that is not the word to apply when you are looking to understand the nature. We've chosen a legal vocabulary. And that's where you fall on your face. In order to understand the nature of God, you have chosen the wrong words. This is not a legal system, is it? But it is a law system. It is a system of order, but it is not an earth judicial, democratic, parliamentary system. No, no, no. So here is this man who takes out his son, and they go on a boar hunt. And they're living within this construct of reality that elders die before their children, because that seems to be the order of life as he has observed it. So the boar turns and comes to attack him. He assumes the boar will kill him, of course, but the boar kills his son. Now there's the first time in his universe ever that he has witnessed something out of the order of, for him, nature. The first time for him that fractured a dent in the cosmic structure. Never had a young die before an old. That is a dent in the cosmic system as he believed it to be constructed. So he stood there upon the earth and he looked up, because you will always look up in the heart of a mystery. You will do it automatically. You don't look left, you don't look right, you look up. A gravitational pull pulls you up, and that's your soul. And it pulls you up, and you look up, and you say, what? How? Why? And who? Who's running this? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is chance. Something ordered this. Because the sequence of life, as it has always been sequenced, has been disrupted, and choice had to be injected here. Otherwise, it would have just simply continued the way it's always been scheduled. So choice was interjected here. That is the moment we look up, is when we recognize, wait a minute, choice. Someplace in your life, choice was interjected, and you looked up in your own life, and you said, wait a minute here. I can't go along with unconsciousness. Why did this happen? What's happening here? And you asked about personal guidance. You asked something personal about yourself. You wanted to know something personal. Instead of just letting things happen instinctually or fall into place, this was the moment that you stood here at a crossroads and understood, maybe not consciously, but that somehow there was a difference between your fate and your destiny. That somehow, there were gears in your life. That your life actually had gears. That there was a fate gear and a destiny gear. And though you may not have put those words to it, that language to it, that there was indeed a difference between the quality of choices that you made, excuse me, what motivated the choices you made, the nature of the power you needed to make those choices, whether or not a group was making a choice through you or you to a group. Which was it? Was a group going to make a choice through you? Wait, we can't do that. We never do that. We do this. Were you a we? In which case you went this way. Or were you an I? Fate is a we. Destiny is an I. So you stand here. Fate doesn't require inner guidance so much, because fate is led by we. We makes the choice, and fate falls into place. I choose, and I then handle the consequences of my personal choices. I create that path. I create it. I carve that destiny. That becomes something that requires all my chakras to be on full. I got to turn these burners on, which means that I look at my tribe and I say, I'll take my heart, please. You're not going to manage that anymore. I'll decide what I love, what I don't love, who I'll forgive. I'm going to take this. I'll make my own choices. Give me my fifth chakra. I will carve out what is real for me, and I'll take that, please. Plug in your sixth, and I will go on my sojourn to figure out who I am. And the tribe, I'll have a separation from being a we to becoming an I. Now, this is not an easy journey. The separation is a secondary birth process. And no tribe lets go of its own easily. So if you sit back and say, oh, were they mean to me? Oh, shut up. That's exactly how tribes treat. Because it hurts the tribe to lose a member. And if you don't get that, grow up. Get it. That's the way it is. Of course, it's a way a tribe says, don't go, you're weakening us. Don't go, because when you change, you won't recognize us when you come back. You'll be different. And we don't want you. That's love. That's a language of tribal love. You'll come back and you'll say, we're not good enough for you. And that's exactly how you will feel, by the way. They're not kidding you. They're warning you. You're going to come back and you'll never feel the same about us. That's exactly the truth. They know that. They know what this separation means. Now, did I heal that bond? It's a heartache, but you have to move on. And others will move on from you. They will separate from you because you will be too smothering. You will be too containing. And that's how life is. And you'll think, I will never be too. Oh, yes, you will. Yes, you will. You'll be clawy and clingy and all those other things that you swore you would never be. Oh my God, I'm just like my mother. Oh, I have to sit down and put my feet. Yeah, that's right. We all become what we said we would never be. This is fate or destiny. When you stand on that, this is when you require that personal intuition. And this is when you start tapping and saying, is there anything out there that can actually talk to me? I mean, I'm just saying. I don't want a conversation. I just want occasion. And this is where you start carving that. The next level is what the mystics would say is revelation, where heaven comes to you. We don't get to go there unescorted. We don't get to blast our way past that door. That door is one where, in the language of Teresa or the language of any of the great mystics, heaven comes for you, and they select you. And they say, you, come with us. And you become someone like, who mentioned the Course in Miracles? Like, you become someone like Helen Schuckman. They selected Helen. And they said, you, come on. And she was like, who are you? She didn't say, can I please channel a great piece of work? There's no way Helen did that. She didn't even believe. She didn't even believe in it. She didn't even believe when it was done. She didn't believe. Because that's exactly, heaven has a wisdom that knows this is perfect. They're not going to give us a rough time. They won't even believe. It may drive them crazy. That's okay. But it's their absence of fight that we want. What?
So when...
Wait, Johnny on the spot here. Hi, Sylvie.
When God gave Moses the Ten Commandments, or God spoke to Moses, he also felt, who am I? Moses felt, who am I to do this, to take this on?
Yeah.
So was Moses at number 3? Someone like Moses? Is that where he was at?
I'm not one to judge Moses' chakras. Being the humble person I am, I'm not going there. Anybody who wrote on stone and bam, no, I'm not going to go there. Good part of C, I can't do that. I can barely part my hair. But let's put things in perspective. Let's humble up here. But I will, if you want to just hold on to my tail for a second. Actually, I have to say there was a time when I would have put those stories in the storybook. And now, and this has to do with you, all of you, and how you see yourself and what's happening now in consciousness. Can all of you see this? Okay, so your 3 columns, this is your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd chakras, your 4 through 7, and 8, 9, and 10. So you know how you have those maps, you are here? Do you ever see that at a shopping plaza? So let's say you are here, going 7 to 8. We're between eras. And it really is, it's really, I believe, I'm going to take you into my head for a second. I really believe it's important to grasp that we're living at the most extraordinary time in the history of human civilization. That's a mouthful of words, but they mean everything. The history of civilization. I think when people come to write about this time that we are living in, they will say, what did they do with this time? That not one of us should be so blind as to say, what am I doing with this time? Not one should be so bored or so blind that it is such a privilege to be alive now. That we are in such a porous, creative, extraordinary moment in time. And there are many reasons I came to this conclusion, but the reasons that really got to me personally are all related to the soul, that all roads lead to the soul. And my journey into the soul was not through the theology that I studied as a student and then went, but rather through our bio-spiritual ecology. In my trying to understand, how come we don't heal? Why aren't we healing more? What's wrong? How come the mind isn't more effective? How come after all these decades of people asking me, can you help me? I ran out of tools up my sleeve. Well, there's Reiki, there's this, there's that. But no, it didn't do enough. It didn't get you out of cancer. It didn't get you out of this. It didn't get you out of this endless depression. How come so many of you are depressed? How come you can't get out of your wounds? For Christ's sake, how come you can't shake the darkness? What the heck is wrong? Why can't you get out of the darkness? Why do you reside? Why do so many people reside in that? And they can, what is the missing ingredient? Why is there so much malaise? Why has hypersensitivity skyrocketed? You can't talk to me like that. And darkness and weakness, overall weakness of character, weakness of being, inability to fire up your ideas. Just, I have been baffled no matter where I go in the world. Yes, that there's exceptions. But in this moment, we're like between worlds where the skills of the old skill set are getting diminished, and the new skill set are not quite refined, that we don't quite yet get, that we're multi-sensory. We don't yet believe it. I can talk to you about being intuitive and multi-sensory, and you go, but you don't get it. You actually don't get it. You don't animate yourself in such a way that you sense the world around you and you recognize, I'm actually sensing the energy field of other people. So what should I do about that? What then is my next step? Because I need to take protective forces here. This is not a psycho-spiritual dynamic. It is a psycho-soul dynamic. I'm actually sensing the law of what is in one is in the whole. This is a holy law that I am sensing. It isn't psycho-spiritual, it's sacred. It's psycho-sacred. I'm actually sensing your soul. This is the wholeness of life. This is the nature of life. And what I recognized was that we are actually going into the era of cosmic biosystems. And that this is the new theology. This is nature theology. This is our nature theology. And one day I understood that the image we have in the language of Penny, my dear friend here, who's brilliant at metaphor and language, to put it in her language, we think of ourselves as going forward every day. Do you not think of like going forward with your life? Is that a word you can relate to? Now, we're going to spend extensive time on the power of words. So this is an example. Forward is a word that makes you think you're going this way. Agreed? So that your life is going this way. One day I recognized, from the moment I had a profound soul mystical experience, I was no longer going, in the language of Penny, forward. That in fact, I was now going backward through time. I was now beginning the long journey, though I didn't recognize it at first, and this all applies to you, that I was going backwards, beginning to unlearn everything I thought was significant in my life. Everything I'd been taught was significant. Now, when I said to you earlier, I want you to start unplugging, now we're going to that. I began a journey of unlearning everything I thought was significant. So in spiritual direction, if I said to you, as I'm going to, I want you to tell me 10 things. 10 things. I want you to note 10 things you actually believe are true about this world. That you actually, put this down. I'm not talking to myself. Put down 10 things. Do you know what it's like to teach people that just sit there when you give instructions? Stop it. Knock it off. I didn't come here to teach zombies. So, write down 10 things you actually today believe are true.
Here I am, I'm walking on a tightrope, looking for balance, right?
Yeah?
And I realize that I want to live with integrity, and I have to make choices. Mm-hmm. And I would love guidance. I don't have guidance, but I have instinct, I have intuition. And I start making choices that I think are very good, and I realize some are mental. I'll buy a house, but unfortunately it's taken away in a mudslide. I'll make an investment, and unfortunately there are unknown incidents which cause it to be lost.
Are you telling the truth?
To the house, no, but investments, yes.
Okay.
All right. I'll have a relationship till death do us part, and it can fall apart. And
yeah, you could die. Keep going. Imagine how shocked she'd be, but go on.
In my case, it was my wife that died, yes.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
Yes, but I'm now with somebody else, and we're working a path. We're walking a path.
Okay.
And I realized that, in fact, I have very little control. The only real control I can have is my reactions to external events. I cannot control external events. Now, the reactions to external events, if they're good, it's wonderful, but then you don't want to be carried away by too much joy, because then you lose perspective. And
what
of course,
perspective?
Well, perspective of balance, and the fact that it may not last.
It won't last.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll be your angel. Talk to me. Talk to me. I will serve as your angel. Let's dialogue.
So I have to let go. I have to learn to let go.
Of what?
I have to learn to let go of the consequences, or what I project as being.
No, I'm serious. I am serving as your angel.
Yes.
So I really want you to talk to me as though I have arrived, we're sitting down, and you get 5 minutes with me.
All right.
So make it fast, because I am your angel, and I'm only going to give you 5 minutes. Go.
Helen Shipman, Eileen Caddy, they were touched by grace.
Yeah.
They
so
were.
Are you? Yeah. Go ahead.
They were given. They felt. They understood messaging. They had missions which came to them. I feel that I cannot command that, and in all humility, it's not something which I have I have to be graced with it. It's grace. It's
Get
grace.
to your question, 4 minutes.
How am I to attain grace?
All of that, and that was your question.
Yes. Yes.
All that prelude, and that's your question.
Yes.
Why was all that necessary?
Background framework?
I don't need all that.
I'm sure you don't.
Okay. But what you were telling me in all of that, is that you've had, what you are actually asking me is I need grace to make decisions so that all of that chaos doesn't repeat itself. That's what you just asked me. Okay. So that you have a guaranteed level of guidance so that your heart won't be broken again. That's what you just asked me. Am I mistaken?
I know that I cannot ask for, or should I be asking for guarantees, because I don't really believe in them.
Is
but yes.
that what you just asked?
Better choices, yes.
Yes. Better, well, what define better? It means safer, protective choices.
Probably. No, yes, okay.
I'm telling you, I got 2.5 minutes on Earth left with you. Don't mess with me. So I'll visit you at night and I won't be pretty.
Okay.
Okay. This, you know, the shattering of expectations of how you thought your life would be is what you're going through. It's the classic, and this is the classic Jesus story, and it's the classic Buddha story. It's the classic teachings of Buddha, who said, I told you it's an illusion. I told you. And you simply decided it wasn't. You thought in your case you were the exception. We have to talk about why you think you're the exception. And you're asking me to please find a way for you to be the exception again. That's what you just asked me, and you don't get that that's what you just asked me. So what do you think I'm going to tell you?
Come down from go through your illusions. Come back down to earth. Be real.
Why? No, I'm going to say, why are you so frightened? Why can't you live life the way it is? What you've learned is nobody's the exception. Nobody. Nobody. What you just asked is, I discovered I'm not the exception. I am mortified that I am ordinary. And I have no way to protect myself. I lost my money. I lost this. I am naked in front of you. You've got to give me some talisman to protect me. Now what? Is it a special prayer? Is it this? So that I know when I go out again, I will be safe in this world, so that the ordinary things can't be taken away. So I know this time when I make a decision, it's locked in and things won't change. Sweetheart, I can't do that for myself. I can't do that for anybody. I'm here to say it can't be done. So what's the other way? The other way is to say, oh, so that's the rules. Change happens constantly. Our only protection is to get that expectations are lethal. That what we have to do is love in the moment and recognize I could be gone tomorrow. My dearest friends could be gone tomorrow. I could leave. My family could be gone tomorrow. I found out when I got home that one of my dearest friends is going to be gone tomorrow. I can't change that. Me, with all my healing skills, cannot change that. I would give anything to change that. I can't. I can't. What I can do is sit with him and say, you have healed hundreds and hundreds of human beings. And now we can't heal you. But we can love you to the end of your journey. We have to live by the rules. And this doesn't mean there is no God. It means that we cannot project our rules and our frightened needs. It means we deal with our fear. You're so filled with fear. And that's what you say, okay, that's enough. I have to get these reptiles out of me. I'm so afraid of being hurt. Not one of these wondrous people in here want to be hurt. What, am I wrong? No. Everyone here has a tender heart. Everyone here has had a broken heart. Everyone here has lost someone they loved. This is what makes us one human family. So the way we pray is, this is what Teresa of Avila said, I can see why you don't have many friends. You play hardball, that's my edit. But that's also why you say, give me strength here. Sometimes you have to pray that 1 hour at a time. And this is when you expect a miracle. Not to protect you from pain, but when you say, I'm having a badass day, I mean it, I'm not kidding you. Now you send me something right now. Because I'm playing by your rules and I'm doing everything right. Now you send me some help and I need it now and I'm not budging.
Commanding grace at that point?
Yeah. I'm not commanding what I wanted to do. Don't ever take it that far. Don't ever order heaven to behave. Do you see the difference here? You just order it to show up. Just request with power. Get here. And let it take the rest.
Difference between insistence and desperation?
Oh, I've been desperate. But this is faith. When I pray, will you get over here? Now. It's never once occurred to me in my life, not once, I promise you, and I would admit it because I have nothing to hide. Nothing. And I've been on the floor crying and wanting to just end it all. I've had enough. But even then I've said, God, you make me crazy, you make me sick, I just can't stand you. And still, when I've said, get me out of this mess, I mean, I'm not kidding you, get me out of this. And then in the quiet, I have felt, I'll be all right. That's not me talking. You'll be fine. You know, when I encountered Teresa, I went through grand mal seizures. And I got rewired. And this one time I was in my kitchen in my townhouse, and it had, ceramic tile. And I had a ceramic counter with a wooden edge like this. And I was sitting at a counter. I had, you know how they have the high bars like this for coffee, you know, your breakfast bar. And I felt a seizure coming on. I felt it. And I looked to my my living room, and I thought, I've got to get to a couch. Because I knew if I fall backwards, I'm going to break my neck. And I thought, oh my God, I can't make it. Because I felt it coming on, and it can come on that fast. This was 17 years ago. And I thought, oh my God, no. Oh no. And I could just see my head crack open, my neck break. And I heard that voice. And it said, let go, I've got you. I went out. I woke up on the floor, on the ceramic tile. Not a bruise, not a bump. The chair was over there standing up. Not a bruise, not a bump. Nothing. And I opened up, I said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's how intimate. Let go, I've got you. Just like that. Just like that. I cannot tell you how close and how foolish fear is. And I've been frightened. Oh Lordy, have I been frightened. I was in a a riot one time in Chicago. I'm talking bona fide, bomb throwing, hardcore, fire all over the place, riot. And I'm there with my cousin, and I see, this is how God takes care of fools and little children. And I see cop cars on fire. And, you know, police cars on fire in Chicago is not a small thing. And, you know, I hear this thing and I think, what's that? What is that going off? I think that's guns. I don't know. And then I see these guys coming toward our car. Judy's driving, coming toward our car. And they have crowbars. And I thought, Mother of God, what is going on here? And here, my cousin went paralytic. She just went. She froze. Absolutely froze. Absolutely froze. And they started to rock our car. And I grabbed and I said, oh, help, help, help. And I heard a voice. And my voice, it's always in my left ear. And it said, don't think fear. Calm down now. Don't think fear. Calm down. Calm down. And I breathed with that force, and I immediately go into trust. As soon as it has more authority over me. I tell you the truth than a firing squad. All right. And I grabbed Judy, and I said, don't think fear. Look at me, Judy, look at me. And it electrified the car. And it's as if they couldn't see it anymore. They couldn't see us anymore. They went like this, as if the car electrocuted them. I saw them go to the next car. There was a female cab driver. Bam! With the crowbar, and the glass goes in her face, and she starts screaming, and I turn around, and the crowd opened up like Moses in the Red Sea. And we drove through, and I was working at St. Mary of Nazareth Hospital in Chicago at the time, and I was in the public relations director, and I was being called to the hospital because of this riot. And I got in there and worked this, but in the evening I ran to the chapel and I said, oh my God, help that woman, help that woman, help that woman. I can still see her face. To this day, I can see her face, and I pray she's not blind. But if I could give you a drop of that, I would give it to you. Because it's that real and that close. And every one of you hears it that fast. You get it your own way. You get it your own way. You feel it, it's in your biology, or it's in a biological response. You hear it in your gut, you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your heart. The only difference between you and me is I listen. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. It's not my having been with nuns till I was 29. It's none of that. It's that I listen. I have always listened. I hear it and it's like a command. And that's it. I listen. I don't say, oh, I don't like what I heard. It doesn't matter if I like it. It's of no consequence to me. It's of no consequence whatsoever. There's nothing here that matters against that. Nothing, nothing. I do not say, what will this cost? When Teresa came, and I had to tell my editor that now I'm going to write a book with a saint, dead nun, 500 years old, well, and I threw out my manuscript, and I had a huge advance from New York, huge, gargantuan. And I would have to, if she had to tell them she encountered a dead nun. She's now writing, well, you listen to this story. She's now going to write her new book, and it's going to be about with this nun. Oh, Jesus, what a story. They could have said, we want that advance back. That contract's broken. They could have sued me. And I stood in my new house that I had just remodeled. And it cost me everything I had. And everything. I was standing in everything I had. And I looked and thought, did that really happen? Oh, yeah. And I said, take it all. Take it all. But do not take that experience. Don't take her from me. Take it all. I looked at everything. My new beautiful rugs, my new everything. And I looked to God and I said, take it all, but don't take her. Take it all. And I thought, I could live in a one room, but don't take Teresa from me. Take it all. And that was it. I walked outside and went for a walk. But don't take her. I didn't care. And I realized I don't care. Take it all, but don't take that. And I put it all on the line, including my reputation. Take it all. If New York had to say she went crazy, if I had to face $1 million, $2 million lawsuit, I said, bring it on, take it all, bring it on, but don't you take that. Okay? And Teresa always said, if God gets into your soul for a second, it's enough for a lifetime, and that's the truth. It's also why you're so afraid of it. Because if God gets into your wall for a second. But what do you think you're afraid of? What do you think you're afraid of? What would scare you about a mystical experience?